Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of Pray on This. I'm your host, John Pray. It's Saturday, May the 13th. I know I'm a day late with this, but kind of got busy yesterday running around to get things ready for my wedding next Friday. Before we get going, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, share the video, or pop over to Rumble and view it there. All those things will help me out greatly. So, the week that has ended, what went on? Well, it's been a bit of a wacky week in Canada. First of all, we had the passports unveiled with the new pictures, and you gotta ask, what are the Liberals thinking? Take away Vimy Ridge, replace it with a squirrel eating a nut, take away Quebec City, replace it with a picture of Justin Trudeau taking a swim when he was a child at Harrington Lake. Take away a picture of the Fathers of Confederation, replace it with a man raking leaves. I don't know who had this great idea. When we told the federal government that passports were broken, what we really meant is you couldn't get them. Not that there needed to be a redesign. It just is another bit of liberal out of touch and arrogance. They just don't understand and they don't care. They're once again, our prime minister's trying to erase Canadian history. And I just have a question. To what end? To what end, Justin, are you really up to? I mean, this great cultural revolution. Well, that storm was starting to brew, which really isn't that huge a scandal. And yet, it actually is when you take a look at what the Liberals did. They grabbed hold of a piece of meat that I don't think is really red meat at all. Kathy Wagenthal, she is the member for Yorkville-Melville from Saskatchewan, put forward a private member's bill that would encourage judges to consider physical and emotional harm to a pregnant victim as an aggravating factor during sentencing when someone has assaulted a pregnant woman and they have been convicted of the crime. So when their sentence is passed on them, that the fact that they assaulted a woman who is pregnant would be a mitigating circumstance in handing out of that sentence. Somehow the Liberals have turned this into, oh, the Conservatives are once again attacking a woman's right to choose, and they're going to try and backdoor this into banning abortion in Canada. I don't see how one goes with the other. What I do see is the reason why the Liberals are doing it, though. This past week, Leger and Nanos and a couple of other pollsters, they released poll numbers. Now, those poll numbers are not very good for the Liberals at all. It shows a 9-point gap now opening up. The Conservative numbers are solidifying and consolidating right around 36% support. But the Liberals have fallen to 27.8%, and they continue to fall. The NDP are up to 22.8%. The NDP is gaining, the Liberals are falling, and the Conservatives are solidifying. Worst thing of all for the Liberal Party of Canada is that their support amongst women 2 months ago was 43% of decided female vote was going to vote for the Liberal Party of Canada, and only 22% of decided female vote was going to vote for the Conservative Party of Canada. Here we are 2 months later, and that is now a statistical tie. Women who have decided on their vote and are going to support the Liberals is down to 33%, Well, those who are going to support the Conservatives is up to 32. The Liberals can't win an election if they don't have a coalition of voters that consist of Atlantic Canada voters, Quebec voters, and the female vote across the country of all age demographics. They also really need the young vote. But they've lost the young person vote. Most young people don't believe that the things that their parents had, they will be able to have, especially with the disastrous economic policies of the Liberal Party of Canada. It also makes perfect sense to me that women are no longer supporting the Liberals. After all, 80% of consumer power is with women. They handle 80% of household budgets. They are the ones who normally buy the staples of the house: food, clothing. They're the ones who usually manage the household budgets and pay the bills. All of those things are going up at exponential rates due to the policies of the Liberal Party of Canada and Justin Trudeau. So why all of a sudden do they bring out abortion? Well, that's really simple. Women are abandoning the Liberal Party and they're not going to vote for them. So what do? Oh, let's bring up the boogeyman of abortion. Then we'll blame the Conservatives, saying they're always the ones who talk about abortion. But if we really look at this, 2008, when it was very obvious that Stéphane Dion, who was then leader of the Liberal Party, was going to lose the election to Stephen Harper, 5 days before the election, out of nowhere, he starts out with, "I support a woman's right to choose." Like that was somehow a big bad boogeyman. Michael Ignatieff did the same thing in 2011. And let's be honest, Justin Trudeau pulls that out whenever he gets into trouble. This is simply that the Liberal Party of Canada are bad managers. They can't manage the passport office. I mean, we tell them that they can't manage the passport office, and they think that redesigning the passport, taking away Canadian historical events and Canadian historical sites and replacing them with artwork of squirrels, man raking leaves, Justin Trudeau as a child swimming, somebody skiing, a polar bear in the Arctic, and the artwork was done by a 10-year-old child, that's Canadiana, that's diversity and inclusion. That's what will fix passports. No, what we want is when our passports are getting close to expiring or have expired, we want them replaced as quickly as possible. We don't want to wait weeks for a passport. We don't want to have to stand in line for 4 to 6 hours to go get one. That's what we meant when we said passports were broken. But Justin Trudeau doesn't care. He thinks that this is the best way to do it. He's putting his personal stamp. I'm truly surprised he didn't change the cover to the Liberal red. And then we come to this. Let's take a look. The Liberals have had a very bad start to 2023. The Chinese election interference is blowing up in their face. The economy is going nowhere, only down. Cost of living still continues to be a millstone around their neck. Yes, inflation is shrinking, but the main thing, food inflation, is staying constant at around 10%. Energy costs are still remaining constantly high. Why? Because the Liberals' own policy of the carbon tax. They're failing on every metric. If an election was held tomorrow, it's not a question of who will be the prime minister. We already know who that will be. It's Pierre Poilievre. The only question is, will he have a strong minority government somewhere in the 160s, or will he have a majority government somewhere in the 180s? That's all that remains. Because if you go on something like Canada 338, and then you start looking at the number of seats that Canada 338 says the Liberals are going to win, that are complete toss-ups, that are well within the margin of error in a poll, and the Liberals really don't have a good chance of winning those seats because they went Liberal in the past, and because maybe the Liberals are ahead by a fraction of a percentage point. Canada 338 is saying, oh, well, the Liberals might hold that seat, so we're going to put it in their column. The latest, most reliable prediction is that if an election was held today, the Conservatives would win 179 seats, while the Liberals would only win 89. And they would also lose seats both left and right to the Conservatives and to the New Democrats. This is a government that's failing. They're going to do anything they can to try and get back support. Hence, a bill that has nothing to do with abortion, has nothing to do with even giving charter rights to an unborn child, simply stating that if you assault a pregnant woman, commit a crime against a pregnant woman, the fact that you are doing it to someone who is pregnant has to be a mitigating circumstance that is considered when you are sentenced for the crime that you did commit. Now, somehow the Liberals conflate this into abortion, and that the Conservatives have some big, bad, scary agenda. They did it in 2006, 2008, 2011. The Conservatives ruled this country for 9 years, 10 months. Stephen Harper had majority government for 4 years of it. He never once went after abortion. Pierre Poilievre won't go after it either. Why? Because in this country, that part of the culture war has already been won by the pro-choice side. I think it's disingenuous, and all it tells me is the Liberals are losing, they know they're losing, and they're getting desperate to try and save themselves. But that wasn't the only weird thing to happen this week. In the United States, CNN, which is a notorious liberal news outlet, decided to grant former President Donald Trump a town hall meeting. Why did they do this? Well, whether people want to hear it or not, even I don't like this. Trump is the front runner for the Republican National Party to be their nominee to be president in 2024. Whether you want to hear it or not, the man is news. And he went on there, and I didn't watch it, I got to admit. However, I did watch some of the comments the day after. You couldn't get away from it. It was all over YouTube. Joey Behar from The View and the other harpies there just saying how disgusting it was that CNN had him on. AOC chastising CNN for giving him a platform. It just strikes me as odd that these liberals who claim to be in favor of your rights and free speech and everything else just want to shut people up who don't agree with them. It's free speech as long as you agree with me. If you don't, you need to be canceled. And they're getting more and more agitated as we, the majority of people, fight back. All of a sudden, we're all a bunch of horrible transphobic people because of the Bud Light debacle where they went and teamed up with Dylan Mulvaney. And since then, they have seen their sales drop by over 50% in the United States. They've seen market share loss on the stock market of close to $10 billion. We're supposed to go back to drinking Bud Light because, not doing so, we're just showing what homophobic people we are and what transphobic people we are. They've hit a point where they went too far, and now the majority is pushing back, and they don't like it. That's what's going on with Trump. That's what's going on with bringing up the abortion debate in Canada. The leftists are losing. Justin Trudeau is the last leftist leader who has not been defeated. Jacinda Ardern is gone. The Dutch Prime Minister is basically been silenced and sanctioned. Joe Biden's numbers in the United States are in the toilet. Macron in France is hanging on by his fingernails. The last bastion of woke leftist politics in a leader is Justin Trudeau. And he's now feeling the pinch. All I can say for my fellow Canadians is get ready, because this is going to get worse. And it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. The reason I say that is that the Royal Bank of Canada and their chief economists have updated their prediction. They were predicting a slight recession for the second and third quarters of 2023-2024. Now they're predicting a deepening recession that will hang through the rest of 2023 and into 2024, that by the first quarter of 2024, which is next spring, starts April the 1st, we will be seeing unemployment rates of 6.5% to 7%. And we're going to see default rates on mortgage renewals of close to 40%. In other words, 40% of the people whose mortgages are going to come up for renewal in the next year are going to have to walk away from them because they're not going to be able to afford the new higher payment due to extremely high interest rates. As everything falls apart, as a government fails, as the Canadian government is doing right now, they will become more desperate, they will become more illogical, and they will do everything they can to pull on your heartstrings to vote for them. They will blame global warming, the abortion issue raising its ugly head, rising crime. It'll all be the conservatives' faults, and they'll all be a teary-eyed reason why. The facts are simple. Bad policy eventually catches up with you. It takes between 5 and 7 years to work its way through the pipe. And where are we? We're just past the 7th anniversary of Justin Trudeau forming government in Canada, into the 8th year, and all of his policies are coming home to roost. Once again, as things get worse, the Liberals are going to wedge issue politics. So when the next election comes, which is probably within the next 12 months, when we're going to be all screaming, hey, Justin, it's the economy, stupid, he's going to be talking about gun control. Hey, Justin, I need a job. Why are there no jobs? He's going to be talking about a woman's right to choose. Hey, Justin, why do groceries cost so much? He's going to be going on about climate change and how people are so much better off with his price on pollution. The fact of the matter is, his government is failing. His policies are losers. They were always losers. It just took time for us to figure it out. Don't fall for the bull when it comes running at you. That, as always, is pray on this. I wish you all a very happy weekend. I probably will not be posting a lot of videos for the next 6 days, actually a little longer than that. The next time you see me, I will probably have a gold ring on this finger, and there will once again be a Mrs. Pray. I wish you all the best. I hope you have a wonderful week and a half to 2 weeks. I will see you soon. God bless you all. That, as always, is pray on this.